Welcome to Lesson 7 of Building a Basic Website. It's the second half of UMass Amherst's first MOOC, and this week we're going to talk more about CSS. After that, it's on to the really fun stuff, and we'll talk about templates, working with images, and of course, building your own website. Today we're going to talk about a set of CSS properties and property values that let you lay out your website. So how can we use CSS for layout? The answer has to do with the box model we've talked a little bit about. Think about every layout tag and every div with a class or ID attribute as a box you've created. Now, all you need to do is tell the computer how big that box should be, where it should be on the page, and how much negative space you want between these box elements. We'll use my refrigerator to demonstrate. Say the freezer is your whole page. In that page, you can have this long and skinny box for the header, or this tall and fat box for the main content area. If you look at a few websites and try to think about it abstractly, you can start to pick up where the boxes were built on these pages. We're going to start simple and talk about fixed width layouts. That means we're going to tell the browser exactly how wide every box should be, down to the pixel. In the next lesson, we'll talk about other ways you can tell these boxes how to behave. The CSS properties here are pretty straightforward: width and height. These can be written using different units, but we'll start just dealing with pixels. If you want to put boxes next to each other, you can use what's called the float property. It's one of the unique functions of CSS that you may have heard Kenji Ross talk about in his interview. CSS float tells the box to float to the left or to the right within whatever contains it. Here on the refrigerator, we can float off to the right edge or off to the left edge. The tactic most web designers use to make sure elements don't float off beyond where they want is creating what's often called a wrapper or a container. Wrappers set the outer limits of your site. Say everything is within a wrapper that's 1,000 pixels wide. If you take Kenji's advice and use the developer tool to see how sites are built, you'll see a lot of wrappers. There are a few more CSS basic layout properties to discuss. The first is called clear. It's the property you'll use when something is trying to climb up where it doesn't belong. Clear basically stands for clear on out, and it tells an element to start on a new line. Here's how Sam Saccone describes it.
One thing that will cause you so much pain, but it's so simple, is when you float an element, make sure that you clear the element afterwards. Just clear both, float left, clear both. That's going to fix all of your problems.
Let's talk about margins and padding. Margin refers to the negative space on the outside of a box, and padding refers to the negative space on the inside of a box. If you write the general CSS property of margin or padding, it will apply to all four sides of the box. You can also be more specific and write properties like margin-top or padding-right. Margin and padding don't sound like much, but they're among the most important CSS layout principles. That's because they're instrumental in making your page friendly and easy to interact with. We'll see you next time in Lesson 8.